Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talk, some combo breaker 99, and this is round 34. Yeah, man, back for another one here, man. And it's been a solid weekend. This past weekend was flooded with fights, but surprisingly, it wasn't MMA this time. I actually got a chance to spend the whole night watching boxing. Usually it's the other way. It's been the other way around for the past few months. It's either been just watching UFC or Bellator or whatever, and then here and there was some good boxing matches. But over the past couple of months, boxing's been coming back. They've been making the right fights, since September. And this was just one of those weekends, man, where I actually didn't watch the UFC card. I had no desire to see Anderson Silva lose in the fashion that he did against Uriah Hall. I heard that he got knocked out. I still haven't watched the fight. I definitely saw his post on Instagram. He wants to, he's going to retire now. But yeah, like I said, I have no desire to see that, man. I don't want to see him go out like that. It's like I don't really want to see my favorite fighters go out like that. If that's how they plan to just go out on, not even really go out on their shield, but just get beat down the way they did. But yeah, I didn't have any desire to watch that card. Boxing was flooded. DAZN, PBC. And ESPN, PBC on Showtime, so yeah, I was into the Tank card, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. I already did a post fight on that. That's like one of my probably the knockout of the year. It's probably knockout of the year. And Derek Chisora versus Alexander Usyk. He gave him a tough fight this weekend. Usyk, he squeezed by him in a very tough decision. That was a good fight. Inoue versus Jason Maloney. Inoue, he went in there, dominated, showcased that hand speed and just some brutal right hands in that fight. And then you had who else did you have? Michaela Mayer. Michaela Mayer won her first world title over Bronica. Well, Bronica, she actually lost the title on the scale, so it was a vacant title. So she won that. So boxing, it was just flooded. And don't forget, Savannah Marshall, she scored a 7th round stoppage over Hannah Rankin, which, she's definitely going to be one of the topics today, man. But yeah, man, that was pretty much the weekend wrap for me. I just watched plenty of boxing. Of course, LFA was on Friday. Bellator was on Thursday, but Arteaga versus Desiree Yanez, that fight was canceled. So I didn't really have any desire to watch the Bellator card when, all the women's fights were canceled. Even UFC included Courtney Casey versus Priscilla Cachoeira. So yeah, man, that's my weekend wrap. Just pretty much chilled out last weekend, watched boxing all day, and did some videos and some live streams. Came through here. What else we got? Of course, this show. I want to do my highlight fight of this episode, and then speak on Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. I know that fight's not inked yet, but I think that's definitely a fight that boxing needs. Not just women's boxing, but boxing as a whole. It's definitely something that's going to add to the growing fire of boxing of the meaningful fights coming back. So I want to talk about that today, man, and that potential matchup. Hopefully we get that next year. And of course, this came out of left field, man. Cynthia Calvillo versus Caitlin Chookagian. Everybody was thinking that it was going to be Cynthia Calvillo versus Lauren Murphy, but I want to go into that a little bit more on the situation, why this fight came to be. And then that'll kind of lead into where Lauren Murphy stands right now. That's almost like a separate topic within itself. But yeah, I want to do, discuss that a little bit too, because there was some information, my man, BJ Johnson from No Filter MMA, he put out. So yeah, man, I guess the theme of this show could be opportunities. Opportunities, you can't pass them up. Savannah Marshall, she went in there, pretty much dominated a common opponent with Clarissa Shields. Hannah Rankin, last time out, Hannah Rankin versus Clarissa Shields. That fight, it was a little bit more dominant in the sense of just, technical skills. Clarissa Shields, she pretty much just outboxed and outworked and outpunched Hannah Rankin, but in a different fashion. It was more so like gritty inside fighting, some good boxing on the outside, but it wasn't the power like Savannah Marshall possessed. So definitely not saying that Savannah Marshall is better technically, because she's still Still got some things to prove to me, but in the fashion that she went in there against Clarissa Shield, I mean against Hannah Rankin, I definitely had to say that this is the fight we need, man, because Savannah Marshall, man, she really went in there and showcased some good power and some good skill, all in one. She was the taller, longer, lankier fighter in there, but she was like throwing these like very solid jabs, and it had this very fluid movement and coming over the top with these beautiful right hands, really cracking Hannah Rankin. And then like when we got into like round 4 and 5, she was just like teeing off to the body, going back up top to the head, landing some nice uppercuts from the outside, and then like sliding out to the side. So she was definitely going in there to make a big statement. And I think going by this performance, you could tell Savannah Marshall has Clarissa on her mind, with this type of performance, because she wanted to go in there and dispatch a common opponent with Clarissa Shields in much better fashion. Real quick, yeah, like Savannah went in there, boxed beautifully from the first couple of rounds, kept the reach advantage out there. She took full advantage of that, landed some good right hands, really mixed in some beautiful uppercuts. But like I said, when we got down to rounds like 5, 6, and 7, it was just a body attack, like very beautiful body attack, just like really ripping her with some good uppercuts to the head, then going down to the body, up, down, up, down. She was doing all of this. And then like round 7, I say this is where, this is where the referee was supposed to have stepped in. The referee, he let Savannah land like a good 12 punch combination on her. She landed like a good 12 punch combination, and the referee still didn't stop it. Hannah actually had to take a knee. She had to actually take a knee for the referee to step in and count. And she wasn't really like doing anything. Like she was just letting him count. She didn't look like she was holding her hands up. She was kind of looking down, but the referee finally waved it off. So I was like, he should have stepped in earlier. Like there was 2 times whenever Savannah Marshall went at her. She really went at her with like combinations, and she was getting hit with just like every single punch. So I was like, yo, you need to stop this fight. She's really getting torn up. So Hannah Rankin actually had to take it in her own hands, man. But very dominant performance by Savannah Marshall. And my question to y'all is, do y'all want to see this fight with Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields now? This is the biggest fight for women's boxing and boxing, because next year you really need some more fights that really make sense. Don't get Spence Crawford. If we don't get Spence and Manny Pacquiao, or Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter, any of those fights, at least we can get a fight of this magnitude for women's boxing. Because I think this one's big, because it will definitely kind of push it over the edge, because we got a very, very smart fighter, highly confident fighter in Clarissa Shields on one side. Then you have the soft-spoken fighter in Savannah Marshall, who not only packs skill, but she's actually packing power. She's 9-0 with 7 knockouts right now. So she's definitely a fighter that goes in there to try to finish her opponents. When you match this fight up, it's just like, yeah, this spells big news for women's boxing, and big recognition. Put a big spotlight on, because everybody has to remember too, this is kind of like an old rivalry. Savannah Marshall holds a win over Clarissa Shields in the amateurs, so these two have history. So it's definitely a fight that Clarissa wants, but it's also a fight that Savannah wants, because Savannah had her choice of words, which I might have to pull up here right now, because people don't understand. Like, she's soft spoken, but she still be taking little digs, and I think that kind of pisses Clarissa's off a little bit too, because after she said this, Clarissa responded as well. But let me see here, man, because there was a couple of different articles here, man, where Savannah was just going in on different moments. Let's see. Savannah Marshall, here's one where she said she battered Clarissa Shields' best mate in Hannah Rankin. Clarissa couldn't do that. So I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, she's doing these little things to really get at her. And I mean, that's what you do to build up a rivalry. Like if you go back to Roy Jones versus Antonio Tarver, they had fought when they were kids. I think they were like 12 or 13, and Roy beat him back in the amateurs, or like, when they were young kids. But along the way, they both being from Florida, they had like this rivalry. Roy, he blew up. He went off to become middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight champion. All the while, Tarver was trying to get his life together. Then he went to the Olympics, won the bronze medal, became a professional in the light heavyweight division, and he was in there dispatching a lot of the same opponents that Roy knocked out. He was trying to do the same thing because he was like, yo, I want to become light heavyweight champion. And then, as the story goes, he ran up on Roy at one of the press conferences, interrupted his press conference. I think it was after the John Ruiz fight. So it kind of rubbed Roy the wrong way. And, he called Roy out, and that's how the fight got started. He put that story out there that, I can beat this guy. We had this rivalry since then. So I think Savannah Marshall, she's kind of doing the same thing here. She wants to fight common opponents of Claressa Shields, beat the hell out of them. And then she could say, yo, look, I'm better. You couldn't do. And, I can't lie. I can't say that she's not doing it in dominant fashion. I mean, aside from the knockout, because she's still showcasing boxing skill before she knocks the person out. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if she just went in there and scored like one punch, like a one-hitter quitter, knocked him out, said, oh, I'm better than you. But she's actually using skill and power to beat these opponents. And that's what makes this matchup between Claressa and Savannah so much more intriguing, in my opinion. Because, I was just looking here. She was like, fair play to Hannah. She's an amazing fighter with big heart, got loads of respect. What else did she say? There was some points here where she did bring up Claressa. Okay, here we go. The pool isn't that big at the higher weights. I'd like to go to super middleweight. I'm not really interested in super welter. That's 140, 154. She wants to stay around the big weights because, she's a big girl. She said, I think my power stays at middle. I've just battered Claressa's mate. I just battered her best mate. I'm sure she said Hannah was going to stop me. So what does that say about her boxing IQ? She couldn't get ranking out of there. Hannah is a brave fighter. Claressa couldn't do that. Me against Shields is the biggest fight in women's boxing. Let's get it on. I want a piece of it. So, yeah, that tells you right there. Like, that's not even what she had said, like, after the fight. Like, after the fight, she was like, Claressa's not the best in the world. She's just where she is because I haven't got there yet. Yeah, she's saying different things just to kind of get under her skin and really show you that, yo, I want this fight. But just looking at some of the things Claressa said, hold on. Because Claressa responded. Claressa going to respond, especially if you on social media, she going to respond to you. And, she wanted the big fights as well. But, yeah, Claressa said this to Savannah Marshall. She was like, Savannah smoking dope. We'll have to back up her words in the ring. But let's see. There's some more things she said. Okay, yeah. Here we go. This was the post-fight call-out on Saturday. I was like, okay, this girl talking trash. Like, she's like quiet, but still like speaking in these little hushed tones where, she throwing shots at her. Here we go. The only reason Claressa's got the belts is because she got there before me, not because she's better than me. But I will tell you now, she certainly isn't. And I know she doesn't want none of me. Okay. So she said that she thinks she doesn't want the fight, but Claressa responded on her Twitter here. She said she's smoking dope. And she also threw some shots at her. Here, okay, my non-world titles and better performances tell me otherwise. You're a world champion now. Come fight me. Savannah, Peter Fury, bring y'all asses. So that's real talk right there. I mean, hey, she didn't duck it. She didn't try to, block Savannah Marshall. She answered right back. So it's not in Claressa to duck anybody. I can say that right now. I don't care. She's not that type of fighter. Savannah, she's that fighter on the rise that really wants this. And Claressa wants a big fight that's going to push her more and more to that GOAT status. So it's definitely a fight that she wants. So, yeah, they definitely got to make this fight next year, man, because I want it. I know y'all fans want it. Let me know in the comment section if y'all want this fight. But, last thing I wanted to talk about this fight is how much of a threat is she to Claressa Shields, man? Like, for y'all that, watch boxing, even women's boxing, like, how much of a big threat do y'all think she is? In my opinion, let's see. I'd have to say she is probably going to be Claressa's biggest threat. For real. I know she might disagree with that. She'll probably say, no, I'm not scared of anybody, but fear doesn't have anything to do with somebody being a threat. I could say Claressa has to understand that this fighter is a threat to her, because she does hold that win over in the amateurs, so I think that type of stuff where somebody has history with you, it can kind of it can kind of bring something out of you where it either brings like a moment where you're really irritated and it kind of takes you out of your game, or it can bring the fire out in you where you really want to go back to that competitive level with that person and you want to right that wrong. And I kind of think that's where it is with Clarissa. I think that Clarissa wants to right that wrong. I really think she wants to right that wrong because in an interview before they actually brought that up, I want to say maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe two, somebody asked like what fight she wanted. And she said one of the fights that she wanted was Savannah Marshall. Like this was before, the Layla Ali hype, but she said she wanted to right that wrong. She was like, the one fight I want to get revenge against is Savannah Marshall, who beat me before I became professional. So that fight is on her mind. But whenever you look at this matchup now, yeah, you got to say this is going to be a competitive fight. Knowing that she is on her mind like that, it is a fight where she might either try to overtrain or she might undertrain. She has to find that middle ground to say, okay, I've been in there with her before, but what am I going to do differently? What is she going to do differently? Definitely see it as a big threat. I definitely see it as her biggest threat to date, because she's walked through all these other fighters who just didn't have that power, that skill. Fighters like Christina Hammer. Christina Hammer, she's a big, strong fighter for her size. What was it, 160? But even she couldn't handle Clarissa Shields. She couldn't handle the strength of Clarissa Shields. And you saw how she dispatched Ivana Habazin. Got dropped in the Hannah Gabriel's fight, but bounced back up to win the last, 8 rounds. I think she got dropped in the second round. So, yeah, she went back to dominate and pretty much won 9 rounds. So, yeah, like she hasn't had too much of a big threat, but just off of paper and off of the eye test right now, you can say that Savannah is a big threat for her because she's doing something her other opponents couldn't do. She's really knocking people out. Like she's stopping people. At 8-0, at 9-0 with 7 knockouts, she's actually going in there with the intent to stop people. She's not just going in there throwing punches like you see in some women's boxing. Some women, they're throwing nice punches, nice combinations, but they're more so in a rush to win that round that's only 2 minutes long, but Savannah's actually in there turning nice shots over. She's definitely using her weight and her size to her advantage, and she's using her reach to her advantage. She really knows how to throw those long rangey punches to get the full extent off her power. She really knows how to turn those shots over. So that's something I don't think a lot of Clarissa's opponents had, in the past. But going into this fight, this is something where Clarissa's seen it before. She's seen it before, and she trains with a lot of men who throw punches like this. She sparred with some top fighters. I know she sparred with Errol Spence before, so she's felt it in them. But how many times have they had to hold back, not to hurt her? So she's actually going to be in there with a fighter that's going to come full extension on those shots, big and long. So just looking at their stats real quick, let's see. Clarissa, I actually talked about this on a live stream once too, so y'all can go back and look at that. But I mean, just looking at their stats right now, Clarissa, Clarissa, they got her listed at 5'8", which is crazy because some people say she's 5'10", and she doesn't look that short. She doesn't look like she's 5'8". Like if you look on the main sites like BoxRec, they got her listed at 5'8", but if you go to like other sites, they have listed at 5'10". So I'm gonna just say she's 5'9" or 5'10", because yeah, she's never looked like a short woman to me. She does look like a very tall woman. So Clarissa, yeah, they, fights between 154 up to 168, and she, like I said, 5'10". We'll say 5'10". And then we got Savannah Marshall, who is 5'11". And, she fights between 160 and 168. But like she said, she feels like her power is more effective and very strong at 160. So, yeah, that's where I think they should fight at. And I think that's where the fight would be more interesting because even Clarissa, fighting at 160, that's where I feel like she really looked good. I feel like that's where she looks strongest. And I think that would be interesting. Yeah, see, one site has Savannah 5'11" and a half, so yeah, she's almost pushing 6 foot. So this would definitely be Clarissa's biggest opponent with the most skill and the most power, man. So yeah, definitely be a big threat for both fighters. I don't think Savannah Marshall. I don't think Savannah Marshall has faced an opponent with the type of as of lately, as a professional. She hasn't faced the type of opponent in Clarissa Shields, one that can fight on the inside, one that throws nice punches, one that has a nice solid body attack of her own, and one that can be gritty on there, one that can be gritty on the inside, so Clarissa has a very nice jab as well, but I think this fight is really going to come down to who can really be effective with their jab, and their footwork. Like if Clarissa's able to get on the inside and move Savannah Marshall in the direction she wants to get those power shots off, then the fight could definitely favor Clarissa Shields, but she's gonna have to overcome that size too, and that strength of Savannah Marshall. And Savannah, she's gonna have to be able to keep this fight on the outside all night. She's gonna have to be able to keep this fight on the outside and make that power effective. But yeah, man, I think this fight is going to be interesting. And like I said, it's definitely a big threat for both fighters on both sides. So right now, I'm kind of looking at this fight as far as, I want to say 60-40 for Shields right now, because I feel like she definitely has that IQ, only has 2 knockouts, but she's had 8 decisions where, she's gone the distance and actually had to just use her IQ to beat opponents. She didn't have to depend on power or get knocked out. So she's been in deep waters, 8 times. She's been the distance 8 times. So she's good. But yeah, Savannah Marshall, still a dangerous opponent for her, vice versa. Really want to see this fight, and definitely probably the biggest women's fight in a while. It's bigger than the Christina Hammer fight. It's definitely bigger than that fight. I think that fight was at 160. Yeah, Christina Hammer, that was at 160, not 168. But it's bigger than that fight at 168. So yeah, once Clarissa figures out what she wants to do from here, I'd like to see that fight sometime next year. But my plan, if I was like a matchmaker or a promoter, I would like to have these two fight one more fight against, other opponents at 160 on the same night or on the same card. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Clarissa is like signed on to Showtime where, she stays there. I think she has fought on the zone, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would have them fight on the same card or on the same night on separate cards, as long as they fight on the same night, have like Savannah Marshall, the co-main event, and have Clarissa Shields fight on the main event. And then sometime like in, let's say, spring or summer of 2021, have them fight. So like January or February, set a card up with these two, Savannah co-main event, Clarissa main event, have that fight go down. And then after that, have the main fight between these two go down sometime in like May or June of 2021. But yeah, that's just my fantasy, because I, haven't seen a very big women's fight in forever in boxing, so I'm excited about the potential matchup with this one. So let me know, guys, in the comment section what y'all think. Y'all want to see this fight, and how do y'all see it going? I think, like I said, it's a big task for both of these fighters, and it's going to be explosive. So yeah, man, before we move on to the next topic between Cynthia Calvillo and Caitlin Chookagian, real quick, let's do the highlight fight of this episode. And the highlight fight of this episode is Loveth Patrick Young versus Rena Norval on the LFA 94 card Friday night. If you still haven't seen this fight, I've done a post-fight analysis of this fight already. I did this one yesterday. But Loveth Patrick Young, she was able to knock out Rena Norval in the first round with a beautiful overhand right. So definitely check that fight out. I just want to go ahead and give that fight the highlight finish of this episode, because you don't see too many solid knockouts like that in WMMA. I mean, you see knockouts, but there was something pretty about that shot that Loveth Patrick Young scored, and the way she scored it. She was really in there throwing some nice boxer punches, some nice, beautiful check left hooks, constantly landing a beautiful overhand right over the much taller fighter. Rena Norval was like 4 inches taller, 5-inch reach advantage. but I feel like Loveth Patrick Young, she really utilized her boxing skill against a taller fighter. She knew to throw that overhand right, which said, okay, Loveth Patrick Young has a high IQ. She was definitely taking advantage of this. Like, she wasn't trying to rush in. She wasn't trying to swarm to get to make Rena give up height. She just said, I'm gonna stay back here, bait her in, catch her with this left hook. And if she continues to take it, so be it. She's not gonna make adjustments. I'm gonna keep landing this shot. Landing like 4 or 5 beautiful overhand rights in this fight. I think it was maybe like the 5th or 6th one that was that money shot that knocked her out. But before that shot, there was one punch that squared up right hand the way Rena Norval was kind of hunched over. She landed that punch square on the jaw, dropped her. Rena Norval gets back up, and Loveth Patrick Young, she comes over the top with the overhand right with a lot of power on it. Probably didn't need that much, but she landed that one and it dropped her, knocked out Norval. Norval got back up on the mat. She sat up, but she was out. The referee had to stop it. So, yeah, definitely shout out to Loveth Patrick Young. Had to give her the highlight finish on that one. If you haven't seen that fight, go to Loveth Patrick Young, her Instagram, Loveth Patra _ Nigeria _ Terminator. So if you go to her page, you can watch the fight there, or go to LFA or Loveth Patrick Young on Facebook. You can watch her fight there. And it's also on her YouTube channel. If you go to Loveth Patrick Young, her YouTube channel, you can watch it there as well. She posted the whole fight up there. But yeah, again, shout out to Loveth Patrick Young. First round knockout over Rena Norval. That's the highlight finish of this episode. All right, so last topic. This topic is gonna be kind of 2 combined topics here about the flyweight division. A couple of different things we got going on. A couple of shakeups once again. I'm loving this flyweight division right now, man. We really getting some good shakeups here, and I think it's opening a lot of people's eyes. It's opening our eyes, and it's definitely opening up the fighters' eyes. And it's really teaching these fighters about opportunities and how to take them. How to attack them. And when they come at you, you got to get them, man. Because right now, before we talk about Lauren Murphy, Cynthia Calvillo versus Caitlin Chookagian. This fight is going down November 21st. It's going to be on the UFC 255 card. Of course, the co-main event, the other flyweight title fight between Valentina Shevchenko and Jennifer Maia is going down on the card. We also got another flyweight fight on there. We got Antonina Shevchenko, the Bullet sister, versus Ariane Lipsky. So putting this fight up there as well, this is going to be a flyweight affair, man. It's good to bring this many flyweight fights together to kind of start matching these fighters up and kind of open people's eyes. But the weird thing about this fight is I didn't see this coming. I think Caitlin may have called her out before, like after she beat Jessica Eye. But, as far as it being matched up, that wasn't supposed to happen. Everybody knows that October 24th was supposed to be the fight between Cynthia and Lauren Murphy. And honestly, that was a fight I was looking forward to because I felt like that was going to either be a title eliminator or it was going to lead to one of them fighting Valentina. But then, of course, Jessica Andrade, she threw a monkey wrench in that bad boy, and she took the first round. She took the first round stoppage over Caitlin Chookagian and took the #1 spot. But that's another story right there. But the fight between Cynthia and Lauren, I wanted to see that matchup. I felt like that was a good matchup. But Cynthia had tested positive for COVID, but her test has cleared since then. And, she signed on the fight. They called her up for this date, November 21st. She accepted. And get into Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy, she put this on her Twitter. Shout out to No Filter MMA. I found out from him because he posted a video yesterday. He posted a video on Monday because I'm actually putting this episode out on Thursday. So just so y'all know, Lauren, she posted that they reached out to her about this fight date on November 21st. She said she wanted to sleep on it, but come to find out the next day, Caitlin Chookagian was signed on the fight. She's kind of upset about that. And Caitlin Chookagian accepted the date on November 21st with Cynthia Calvillo. So, the matchmakers, who's ever doing the calling up, who's ever, making these phone calls and saying, yo, we got an opportunity for you. We're sending you a contract and you look at it, you give it a look over. Or if they just call you with that opportunity, you just got to say, yeah, which I'm going to get into here in a minute. I guess that's what they're expecting. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that too. But yeah, Lauren, She didn't accept. So now that kind of leaves her out in the cold again. So now we have Cynthia Calvillo and Caitlin Chookagian throwing down. So let's talk about that matchup real quick. One of the questions I have about this fight is, first off, I have to say, shout out to Calvillo. She's been wanting to stay in this mix. Crazy things always come up that keep her from the title shot. I remember at 115, she was having trouble making weight. She had got suspended for a little while. And I always wanted to see her make it to the top at 115 to fight Andrade or Tatiana Suarez. I always thought she was like a good scrappy fighter, but moving up to 125, she's almost having that same trouble, testing positive for COVID. But she's getting back in there against, former number one contender in Caitlin Chookagian. So she's always trying to stay in that mix. She wants to make fights that make sense. But on the other side, you have Caitlin Chookagian, who she's been holding this number one, number two spot down for a while. She's fighting everybody. She's fought Valentina, Jessica I, JoJo Calderwood, Jessica Andrade. She's willing to take fights. She's willing to take these fights and, try to get back into that title shot realm. But that's my question. Like, at this point, do you really think Caitlin Chookagian is really wanting to get back into that title shot realm, or is this just another check for her? Is she just answering that call to kind of stay active now and maybe just get another bag and then call it quits? Like, if she lost this fight, do you think she's just kind of going in there to, well, let's say, do you think she's just trying to go into this fight, get another bag, and you say if she loses, she retires? Do you think she's seeing it that way, or do you think she's really seeing it as a fight to the top once again? Because I know a lot of people feel like they don't see Caitlin challenging Valentina again for the title. They don't really see that happening. They don't feel like she has that in her. But to me, it's kind of hard to say. I'm like on the fence about that. You never know what's on a fighter's mind, because in one breath, Caitlin is, saying, I'll take anybody, I'll fight anybody. She'll go on Twitter or Instagram and call people out like Cynthia Calvillo or JoJo Calderwood in the past. She's doing that in one tone, or she'll say she'll fight Valentina. She called her out, I remember. And then in another breath, she's saying that, she wants to be a mother now. She wants to have kids. She wants to have a family. She wants to settle down. She wants to retire. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't know if this is going to be like a big, meaningful fight for her. On paper, it looks like a very significant fight, but that question is still out there. Like, is Caitlin just out after a bag, or is she going to give it her all and try to upset Cynthia Calvillo's her mission to the title? That's something that a lot of people are kind of asking. So let me know in the comment section, guys, what y'all think. I'm kind of leaving that out there because I really want to know if Caitlin's going to, go out with a bang here, and try to get back into that Andrade rematch or Valentina rematch. Because if she throws a monkey wrench in this fight and tries to upset Cynthia Calvillo and gets back into that, title shot realm, we're kind of back at square one again. We already know like what Valentina will do to Caitlin again, or what Jessica Andrade is capable of doing again, if Caitlin doesn't show up. So I know a lot of people are hoping that Cynthia Calvillo wins this fight. I mean, I like both fighters, but I have to go with Cynthia Calvillo myself. Like, I'm rooting for her because I was rooting for her since she was at 115. I was always a fan of her there at 115. So I'm hoping to see her shake up things and, bring her style to the forefront. So she can mix it up. These top contenders, they can be challenged now. Jessica Andrade can have another challenge. Andrade Calvillo is a fight I always wanted to see. I've already seen Chookagian Andrade, so I want to see this fight. So in a way, if Caitlin is just out for a bag, maybe that will be good for us, right? If she just goes in there to answer the call, take another fight, get this money, and maybe if Cynthia Calvillo beats her, she'll be out of there, right? But I mean, that might be good for her. Like I said, if she loses, she wants to go off and be a mother now. She's married, and that's kind of where her mind is also at now. That's where it's been going. So if that's the mind frame she wants to be in, it'll be better for her if she lost, right? But yeah, that's a question for y'all. What do y'all think? Do you think this is just another check for Caitlin Chookagian, or is she going to give it her all? Yeah, but real quick, I just want to say, yeah, man, it is Caitlin's time though, man. Like, Cynthia Calvillo, it's her time. I feel like she has to get it now. She's got to get it, man, because when opportunities come, you got to take them. And even though she's been having some roadblocks ahead of her, she's always kept that same mind frame. So I can understand why Dana and the matchmakers continue to try to push her and give her that, that title shot or get her onto that path, because she'll fight anybody. She stopped a lot of very top straw weights. She's beat some very good fighters. I know, 33 is not old, but it can be in a fighter's years. I'm not saying that she's taking a lot of punishment, because she is a young 33, but you never know. Like when you hit 33, 34, 35, that's when sometimes Father Time kicks in and, snatches that prime out of you. Father Time, he's undefeated. He's undefeated, man. So now's the time to get it for Cynthia. So I think it's her time, man. I think it's Cynthia's time to get Caitlin out of there, possibly fight Jessica Andrade. That would just be a good fight. That would be really good. And then move on to Valentina next. Yeah. Yeah. So she's definitely into that. She's definitely into that mix now where there's no turning back. So I want to see her push. I want to see her push forward. But yeah, man. Speaking of, like I said, being left out in the cold, going back to Lauren Murphy, man. Like I said, shout out to BJ once again. BJ posted this on a video. He talked about it, but let me pull up the Twitter real quick to pull up the Twitter. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So she had posted on Twitter. Let's see. Okay. This is what Lauren Murphy posted. So we'll start from the beginning with her. Lauren Murphy yesterday. This is what she posted. LOL. I told Mick on Friday, Mick Maynard. I told Mick on Friday I would fight Cynthia Calvillo December 12th. It was supposed to be a #1 contenders bout. He sent the contract. I asked to sleep on it because there's some big stuff in it. Shit way over my head. Tried to call him this morning. I guess she's referring to, since this was a day ago, she was, referring to the next morning. Woke up from a nap today and saw this. And this is what she saw. This was posted by Brett Okamoto, ESPN. UFC in the process of finalizing Caitlin Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo at UFC 255 on November 21st, per sources. Same night as Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia title fight. 4th appearance this year for Chookagian and a big one for Calvillo. So that's what she saw. That's what she saw. And, there's people posting their reactions. And No Filter MMA, he posted his reply. He said, should have taken it? ? Right? And where's her response to him? Hold on. Here's her response, because this is what he posted on his video, if y'all haven't seen it. In caps lock, she wrote, I did take it. I said I would postpone an international vacation, make weight on the 21st for backup. So she would be a backup on the 21st, right? And fight Cynthia on the 12th of December. I said I would do all of that. Then asked to think about the contract he sent. Then asked to think about the contract he sent and woke up to that announced bout agreement. So right there, that's just telling us that, a fighter's words or your little negotiations on the side aren't really going to matter if they're already moving. If they got the wheels rolling and the balls rolling, that's it. It's obvious that you have to take that opportunity right then, because they're trying to set up another big flyweight fight on the November 21st card. They're pushing Cynthia Calvillo forward now, because Cynthia Calvillo is probably like, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight. I don't want to wait till the December 12th. I want to get in there. So they put her on the Valentina Maia card to make it a little bit more interesting, because they want to put another flyweight fight on it. They said, let's put another women's flyweight fight on here, right? So who wants to do it? Cynthia said, hey, I don't want to do the 12th date. Let's do November 21st. I'll jump on there, right? So who's going to be an opponent for her? Well, Jessica I's booked up with JoJo, so she can't fight one of them. Macy Barber's out on injury right now, right? Roxanne and Vivian Araújo, they already have a fight scheduled for January, right? So who else is left? Who else wants to take this call? Well, Caitlin Chookagian. Let's call her. Well, first we'll call Lauren. Let's call Lauren first, right? Lauren, we got a date for you. Do you want to fight on the 21st? She says, okay, she wants to look over the contract because there's some big shit in there over her head. So they're thinking, okay, oh, you better get back to it soon. They also put it out to Caitlin Chookagian. Caitlin's probably like, I'll take it. She was probably like, I'll do it. And, they're looking at the significance there. She's number 2, Cynthia's number 4. So, okay, she just took it. She didn't put us on hold. You got to look at it like that. So they went with Caitlin Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. Now, again, like, I kind of understand where Lauren's coming from here. She kind of feels like, they're not in support of her, fighting for a title. They don't want her to run. They don't want her for a title shot, but it may seem that way sometimes with certain type of fighters. Like if they want a certain type, they want a fighter with a certain type of look, then yeah. So when opportunities come your way, you got to get down and gritty with it. I mean, you can't take time out and just say, okay, let me look this over. You got to be quick on it. Like if there's something you don't understand in that, you got to probably be like, hey, let me talk to my manager. Let me talk to my lawyer. Let's go ahead and get this over with. Even in my life, there's been opportunities where I had to go ahead and jump on it. Not fight opportunities, but workforce opportunities where you say, this is it. Okay, let me look at it. Let me call so-and-so and let me talk to them. What do they think? After I explain it to them, then boom. If I want it, I take it. If I don't, I'll let it go. So this was an opportunity where I feel like Lauren Murphy should have just taken it. When it all comes down to it, she had to just take this opportunity, man. Because like, as much as she probably feels like, they're going to let her fight these other fights and stay active and then eventually get that title shot, they're always going to kind of leave her out as long as you have these other fighters that are ranked higher than you, even like Jessica Andrade, somebody with a better resume and, much more exposure and, pound for pound seen as one of the best fighters. They're always going to look to her, Valentina, Cynthia Calvillo, another fighter they're always pushing, Caitlin Chookagian. They're always going to look to these fighters first. So for Lauren Murphy, she already knows that she's getting the raw end of the deal. And she has gotten the raw end of the deal in the past. She has to jump on opportunities like this and kind of change that and break that chain. She has to go in there and break that chain. So yeah, like going back to what she said on Twitter was, she said that she would fight, she would fight Jessica Andrade if she had to. Well, that may be what she, at this point, that might just be what she has to do now, because all roads are just leading to Jessica Andrade now. I mean, this was just another one of those opportunities where, I feel like the UFC was throwing it out there right now because they was like, yo, do you want this? Do you want this? You got to respond now. It was one of those things. Because I know she said on her Twitter that she told him that she wanted to sleep on it, but what was his response? Did he not respond anymore? Or did he say, okay, we'll let you respond on it? Or we'll wait for you. Did he say anything back, or are you leaving that part out? That's what I want to know, because I just went here again and said, okay, look. All right. So yeah, it said he sent the contract. I asked to sleep on it because there was some big stuff in there, shit over my head. I tried to call him this morning, woke up from a nap and saw this post Caitlin and Cynthia are posted now, but she didn't say that. He said, okay, sleep on it, which probably means that, they wanted to answer right then. They wanted to answer right then because they wanted to try to get this card together. November 21st is a few weeks away. I know she wanted to be on backup, but if they move the fight up, then you got to take it. Or if you're not going to be ready for November 21st, then let Calvillo and Caitlin Chookagian have this one. Let them have this one. And from here, the only thing you can do from here now at this point is to say, give me Jessica Andrade in December, on December 12th. That's the best thing you can do. You said you wanted Cynthia Calvillo on December 12th, but you can't really call the shots like this. It's up to McMahon or Dana White and so on. At this point, you have to go ahead and say, this here was just another missed opportunity like before. So moving forward, you just have to say, I want Jessica Andrade December 12th. That's all you can do from here. So yeah, in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think Lauren Murphy should have accepted right away? In my opinion, like I said, I think she should have, because you see Caitlin Chookagian, she jumped on it. If you don't, somebody else will. That's how you have to see this opportunity. Like when somebody's calling you up for a fight, and like I said, if there's some things in there you don't understand, if you don't have anybody to ask there right there at that moment, just ask him. He sent the contract, hit him up and say, oh, yo, I don't understand this. Mick, I don't understand this. What does this mean in the contract? Just go ahead and ask him. I know you don't want to feel like you're ignorant to something, but sometimes you got to be humble and just bite down and say, hey, what does this mean? But I just feel like, yeah, it was a missed opportunity where, yeah, she should have went on and taken it. Like, no time to talk, just take it. But yeah, what do y'all think too, man? What does this mean now? It just means that Rose lead to Jessica Andrade, right? Because I mean, yeah, this opportunity was missed. So there's nothing else you can say or do. I mean, you could probably just say, okay, I'll stay on backup in case Caitlyn or Cynthia test positive for COVID. Then I'll take the fight November 21st. But other than that, the only thing you can do from here is move forward and say, I'll fight Jessica Andrade December 10th. Let me get that December 12th, excuse me. Let me get that December 12th date back, and I'll fight Jessica Andrade on that day. Because I think that would be a perfect turnaround for Jessica Andrade. 2 months out, about a month and a half out for almost 2 months out for Lauren Murphy too. So they'd be on like the same turnaround, so make that happen. That's all you could do at this point. But yeah, man, like I said, this is something I'll talk about more in other videos, if things alter, things change. Right now, Lauren Murphy just seems to be, kind of left out of some of these fights. But, all she got to do is keep fighting. She said it herself on her Twitter later on, like, yeah, I'm going to just keep fighting until it, pushes me harder up the rankings. And that's all you can do. But the next time something big comes along where an even bigger opportunity comes where it could set you up in a title shot, you got to take it. I'm not going to bash anything like that or say anything because I'm a fan of her fighting style, but some of the things outside of the octagon, as far as business, I don't know how that's been working for her. So she got to do her thing, man. She just got to say, hey, Jessica Andrade, I'll take you on December 12th. But yeah, man, let me know in the comment section, guys, what y'all think. Like I said, just another missed opportunity. That's all, man. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on this episode with y'all. I just want to go back and talk about potential boxing matchup between Clarissa and Savannah. Give this highlight finish to 11th Patrick Young, and of course Cynthia and Caitlyn fight. What it really means, like I know it means big things for Cynthia. It definitely means big things for Cynthia. But what's it really mean for Caitlyn? Like, is it just like a farewell fight? Get the money and that'll be it. Or is she going to give it her all and try to, get a title shot once again? We'll see. But as for Lauren, like I said, there's nothing she can do at this point, as far as, trying to get this fight or complaining about it. She just got a call for December 12th. I want Jessica Andrade. That's all she got to say at this point. That's all I want. They're taking. So, yeah, get your fight on. Get your fight date. Get your fight date with Jessica Andrade. That's the fight I want to see. But, yeah, guys, in closing, this is something I do in the Jab podcast. I do this segment called Boxing is Life. But over here, I do something a little different. It's just something I'll do in closing. I just kind of pick a theme and, give y'all some quick words to kind of go by, just like I do over there. I call it Boxing is Life. And over there, I kind of give the equivalent on why boxing is very similar to life. There was something I seen that Vanessa Demopoulos, she had posted. Well, I won't say she posted it because, I hit her up in the DMs, like after the fight, like right after the fight, she posted a picture of herself, she busted up. Like I said, cuts on top of cuts. The first thing I said was, yo, I had to, hit her up. I was like, I really have to give you a lot of respect, Vanessa. I was like, yo, you showed a lot of heart in there. There's no quit in you. And, she responded, what did she respond? She responded, yeah, never, ever quit. Basically she was saying that to me, like, you never, ever quit in life. And yeah, to me, that means a lot, for somebody to say, this is how I do it. This is how I go in there. Even if I'm down, even if I'm busted up or bloody, you never quit. And that's one thing she shows, no quitting. She keeps trying. And that's why I just tell a lot of people out there, no matter how bad things can get, you have to keep going. Don't ever quit. Because if you quit, you'll never know what you could be. I mean, there's still some things in life I want to try, but I'm still working at different things and, trying to say, yo, I got to break that chain. And to break that chain, I got to keep pushing forward, and to push forward, never quit. Just keep trying. Just keep trying. Even if you don't get it right the first, second, or third time, keep doing it. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Like I say, I'm gonna keep doing these shows as long as y'all tune in. I'll keep on growing here. As long as y'all keep subscribing, and I'll make sure y'all subscribe here. I post all the information up. What else? Any topics that y'all want me to discuss, just leave them in the comments section. And I appreciate the donations to my Cash App. Probably about to get on here and do another live stream, but tonight is it's actually Tuesday night. I'm gonna drop this on Thursday, but it's actually Tuesday. But I'm about to get on a live stream and talk about this. Lauren and Caitlin and Cynthia, this little fight triangle going down. I want to talk on that with y'all. But yeah, guys, like I said, it's been fun once again. I'm Combo Breaker 99. I'll see y'all later on the next one. Peace.